Alrighty, we are live. So sorry about that. At the point where it was 2 o'clock, I just saw that there were a lot of back and forth with my network, but I think we're good. I'm sure we're good. Yes. So good afternoon from wherever you are, morning, evening, whatever it is. And this is us coming again at Tuesday Live. I'm particularly excited about Tuesday Live. This is the Tuesday Live before my 40th birthday, the last one. Yay! Who is excited with me? My 40th birthday is 6 days. Please don't begrudge me. I just love being 40. Somebody say, how can you get so excited about it? I've looked forward to being 40 for the past 10 years. Like, you get it. So let's go there. Today we're looking at rote learning versus conceptual understanding. Are you raising a memorization robot? Hmm. Today's class is going to be hot. Forget this blue that I'm wearing. It's just to calm me down. I saw how hot the class is. I just say, what color will I use so that I will be calm? You know that blue has a lot of calm, calm, calm. Yeah, that's in the house. Thursday is going to be hotter than hot. Please come prepared. Do not come with no feathers. If not, you get burnt. Let's go there. Now, the world does not reward those who can repeat facts. The world only reward those who can solve problems. I say that again. The world does not reward those who can repeat facts. The world only reward those who can solve problems. The problem is most of us are actually in the place where we can repeat facts. That's how we were raised. See, the mind is not a storage device. The mind is a thinking machine. You need to raise a thinker, not a recorder. Most of us have raised recorders. Our children can pass exams. Our children can, be on top of the class. A1, A2, A whatever it is that you call it. But I tell you for free, all of these things actually will not matter if you are not able to raise a child who can think. Now, in today's world, information is everywhere. It's everywhere. So literally at your fingertips, anyone can use a phone, ChatGPT, Google Facts, definition, formulas in split seconds. So knowing facts alone is no longer enough. So if it's only facts that your children know or that you are actually on the wrong side. That's the truth. Because facts are cheap. They are too cheap and they are so easy to access. Now, what the world truly values, whether in career, in business, in leadership, in parenting, in personal success, are people who can, number one, look at a challenge and figure out a solution. Number two, think critically, adapt and innovate when there is no clear path. Number three, ask the right questions, not just recite the right answers. They are two different things. Most of our children can recite a lot of answers, but do not know how to ask the right questions. And then, number four, apply knowledge in creative and meaningful ways, not just store it in the head. That's why a lot of us came out with first class, not translatable. That's why a lot of us came out with a 2-1, but we can't translate it. That's rote learning. We don't understand how to translate concept to something that will become productive at the end of the day. Why does this even matter? When you focus only on grades, cramming, test scores, English and maths, you are actually training your child to believe that success is about repeating what they've been told. And unfortunately, that's not what success is about. That's why you have a problem when someone says things are not done the way you know it. Some of us are not rote learners. Some of us understand conceptual understanding. So in the concept where that thing was shared, do you have an understanding of it? So a lot of us are still stuck in the place where we're saying to ourselves, no, do what works for you. My parents beat me and I turned out okay. Rote learning. That's what it is. When you understand conceptual learning, you begin to understand that the people who actually raised us are a people who are highly traumatized. Who didn't understand emotional intelligence? Who were coming from a war system, and the only thing they could think about was surviving, not thriving. How do you compare the concept in that time with the concept now? Why? It's because you were taught to be a rote learner, not a conceptual, not a thinker. And that's what school shapes us to be. That's what school shapes us to do. Right? For the world, outside the world, the school doesn't work like that. Life doesn't give you multiple answer choices. You take this or you take this. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. There's no answer keys to relationship. There's no answer keys to leadership. All these are answer keys to career. Success in real world comes from identifying problems, thinking through solutions, and applying knowledge creatively. That's what success is about. That is what success is about. And this is why conceptual understanding matters more than rote memorization. Is there a place for rote memorization? Yes, there is. Memorization will help your child survive in school. But hey, understanding concept is what helps your child to thrive in life. If you want to raise a child who can thrive in an unpredictable, highly volatile world like this, you need to focus less on what did you score and begin to focus more on how did you figure it out. You need to teach your children to question, to explore, to experiment, and not just repeat answers. You need to help them connect with what they learn in real life so that they can see knowledge as a tool, not a checklist. I have 1 degree, 10 degrees. I went to this school, this school. That's a checklist. That's a checklist. And that's why most of our children, you see them, you make an A1 in mathematics, you can't solve a problem. That's because of the kind of learner I am. I struggle with understanding maths the way it was taught growing up. I struggle with mathematics. For an A++ student, I was a bad math student as far as I'm concerned. Why? The way maths was taught to me was taught from the rote learning angle. I don't learn like that. I don't learn like that. I learn by conceptual understanding. I couldn't understand why my math teacher wanted me to do la cram la po so that I can pass. Like they say in the inner circle, la cram la po. Yadas have a lot of ways that they describe things. You don't even want to miss being a yada. You are not a yada like Makawai. Why are you not a yada now? Like, as in, you just look at all of these things and you're not inside. Like, So if you're not a yada, better book and get into the yard for the next for the next cohort. I like the way that the US yada says the yard. Are you in the yard? Let's go. So now you begin to actually understand. The truth is, your child who can only repeat facts is replaceable. A child who can think, adapt, solve problem is invaluable. In a world full of facts, it's only thinkers, problem solvers who rise to the top. Think about it. So after you have passed all the exams, made all A's, what problem have you been able to solve with it? Rote learning, conceptual understanding. I want to open your mind to understanding that learning is not what you go to school to do. Learning is what happens from day one when a child is conceived. And once you can give your child that kind of atmosphere, you change everything about their lives. That's why I say that you're a product of who raised you, how you were raised, where you were raised, and what the best thing who raised you know. That's the most important factor in it. So a few days ago, I came across a video, I'm still going to post it, of Elon Musk's dad was being interviewed. And the guy said something very striking to me. He said Elon went to school in a Rolls Royce every day. Do you know what that meant? There's something that guy had seen about wealth that you can't take away. And probably his dad is someone who also was very hands-on and intentional on that journey. See, the experiences your child has, the examples you show, the expectations that you have, they are key to who your child become eventually. I wrote the book, Parenting Advantage. And in that book, I explained the 5 E's of life. Expectations, experiences, examples. And you know the interesting thing? That's actually what makes a child more than the school that the child goes to. I like watching documentaries a lot, right? And you want to read this book. I wrote about Serena Williams and what the father did. all right, to be able to actually get them there. It wasn't school. It wasn't school that made her. So, I like, documentaries a lot. Yesterday I was watching a documentary of um, um, one of the billionaires in Nigeria, right? That's the founder of Eleganza. I love to watch the stories of, people who are actually, there. I love stories of men. It's a thing that I do. And I was watching his trajectory, and then I was watching his life. And he was said that he got to a point in school. He said he looked at, in an interview, he said he looked at his teacher, who was a math teacher. And then he looked at another businessman he sees and sees who dresses better. He said his answer was very valid. The businessman was dressing better. That means this businessman knows something that the teacher doesn't know. The teacher was also, just there. He decided to drop out of school because he said to himself that this school will not offer me where I'm going. You need to go and listen to that man's story. Now, am I saying that school is not important? Don't quote me. Like, how did they say it? School is scam? Abi? That's how they say it. I'm not saying that school is scam. I am just saying that as a parent, right, you would need to understand what you are doing with your child. If not, you will make a mess of your child. This is very important. You will make a mess of your child. So if you are still in the place where you are celebrating maths and English, hey, my child made 10, is it good for your child to pass exam? Trust me, yes, it is good. It is good. But it's bigger than passing exams. That's my point. I am not saying, somebody is asking me that what's the name of the documentary. It's Razak Okoya. You can go and check out Razak Okoya's documentary on YouTube. There are different stories written about, Okoya on YouTube. Yes, the name, is about Razak Okoya. I think the name of the documentary is The Billionaires in Nigeria, something of that nature. So if your child is still in that place, this is something that you need to start putting back. I have also been of the opinion that children don't learn in school. Children learn at home. I'm going to prove it to you. If you see the children whose dads or whose parents had what I call a garage, and a garage is not a physical thing, inner circle parents get it. A garage is not a physical thing. For those children whose fathers had a garage, or maybe your dad had somewhere you could explore, or something, a shop where you could go to explore, something that you were actually in experience, inside of the experience. Now, there's something that I've also noticed. Some of our parents who had these garages didn't allow us to actually have an experience of those garages. Now, that's a different conversation altogether. My dad was a farmer, a very big farmer. My dad farmed everything. We never looked for food. You know the interesting thing? None of us really picked up that concept to be able to understand how farming works. Apart from my last brother, my dad was not intentional enough in passing that particular aspect because he didn't feel it was something that we needed to learn. He felt that we needed to go to school and pass exams and get a good job, which we all did. Rote learning. Which we all did. We all did. We all passed exams. If you know my siblings, for those who know my siblings who are listening to me, you know that my siblings are all stars. All of us, top of the class, come out, and then boom, we get a good job, and then what? And then what? So if you're not talking about examples, you're not talking about the exposures, you're not talking about the experiences, you're not talking about the environment where you're raising your children, you're not talking about the expectations. Expectations are not bad in parenting. Expectations are key in parenting. The problem is we don't know what expectations to put in place per time. I'm not going to talk much about it. In this book, I actually wrote a lot about being a parenting advantage. Now, rote learning and memorization robot. Children learn by cramming facts. I hope you know, right? At the beginning, they cram formulas, the process, even without understanding them. So that's what the school teaches. They can recite definitions. They can recite multiplication tables. When your child is cramming, you say, my child can read A, B, 3, D to Z. What do you think is happening? Rote learning. Your child doesn't really understand it. Rote learning. And then it's worse in these days because your children are constantly on one screen or the other. According to you, they are learning. They are really not learning. the concept is not being broken down. The child doesn't really understand what is happening. That's the truth. So this child is, they just recite definitions, multiplication table, dates. When they are asked, they just pour, right? But when the question changes slightly, the word problem, the real life applications, they freeze. They freeze because they only know the script. They don't know the why behind the script. They rely heavily on repetition and drilling. They don't understand the concept. I'll tell you something that happened to me. Because of my struggle with mathematics, and I understood that the concept of mathematics for me was something that was not, clear. So I struggled with understanding mathematics. I struggled with understanding the concept. I struggled with, again, making a C for me was a struggle, right? When I had the twins, so my husband doesn't struggle with math. And I shared my struggles, that I had during schools and all of that. I eventually would pick up, to be able to actually use my maths. But being in the medical school, I didn't really necessarily need much of mathematics. But until I understood the concept of mathematics, I never understood what maths was all about. So here's what we did. We started with our children to understanding math concepts and not just passing math. They are two different things. Most of us, our children, pass mathematics, but they have nothing in understanding the concept of mathematics. So our children are able to make A's in math, A1, but they can't solve simple problems. So what did we do? We changed the whole concept. So we made our children learn math concept first before learning math. See, you can raise a math guru without hiring a math teacher. Quote me anywhere. When you understand who your child is, understand how your child learns, understand what you need to do, you will raise a math guru. I can tell you that for free. And today, our children do math. Our daughter will say, I'm struggling with math. I have a lot of struggle. Our struggle is between 85 and 90. Sometimes when I look at her, I'm like, oh, hey, this is struggle. Hey, I thought would do 98, 100. Further maths, the first 3 students in further maths are my children, my friend's child, and all of that. So they do those maths. Physics is my children's best subject. Why? There is concept of understanding, right? Then there is the of passing. If your child learns the concept of maths, they will pass maths naturally. But your child can pass maths without learning the concept. So that lesson teacher you hired, sorry for anybody who is a lesson teacher here, but that lesson teacher you hired to teach more maths, you cannot teach someone who is struggling with maths with more maths. Never. Never. If your child is struggling with maths and you hire a maths teacher to teach more maths to the child can pass maths but will never understand the concept of maths. So maths struggles are not for more maths. They are for understanding of the concept first. So this is where it comes, rote learning, conceptual understanding. So you say things like, since I hired that math teacher, my child has been passing maths. At what cost? The cost of not being able to understand problem solving and yet passing, making an A. That's actually the real issue. That's actually the real issue. If you understand the concept of mathematics, and I teach this in the inner circle, and I say it to inner circle parents, when you come to the yard, I tell you, fire whichever extra morality, extra teacher. You don't need it. That's the truth. But don't fire your extra teacher if you don't do what it is that you're supposed to do, because you will not understand what I'm talking about. That's why the course, understanding your child's learning style, is very important. So you need to actually learn what you need to do before you can now say one coach that wore one blue like that came on YouTube and told me not to hire a teacher. And now my children are now failing. There's something I call, copying the result and not understanding what it is that happens inside the result. See, parenting is a process. I wrote a post today about the USAID gotten. I used to work for USAID projects, and I'm sure that I've said that, over and over again. And of course, that means I know a lot of colleagues who have been affected. Over the years, that aid has been withdrawn from the country. Now, that's so African countries are all crying. Hey, that's been withdrawn. If you know me very well, of course, Masterpiece Women understand when I say NGO. Masterpiece Women, do you get it? When I say NGO, right? All right, I will leave it at that. It's our little kept secret. Now, when I see a lot of African countries, I'm looking at this guy in Africa, the military guy, and the guy is not complaining. The guy is busy trying to build, the guy is trying to, I think that's Burkina Faso. The guy is trying to put, a lot of things in place. Our people are crying because aid has been removed. Now, let me bring it to parenting. The problem is that you think that parenting, that is aid you require. Always trying to, school is not helping me. Oh, church. Oh, the house help. Oh, this person. It is your job. Yeah. It is your job. You cannot abdicate responsibility of parenting. The same way that Africa think that developing Africa is by aid. Nobody can develop by aid. It's by trade. You don't develop by aid. You develop by trade. If you don't trade, forget it. And when it comes to parenting, you don't grow a child by waiting for things to spoil. You actually do that by learning the relevant concept and being able to apply it. So that's how it's done. So if you do not understand that is your job, we continue to turn out people who cannot become the people they should be. That's actually the real problem. That's the real problem. So how much are you willing to actually put into your parenting? A lot of us don't want to put in any work, unfortunately. And sometimes I wonder how we want to do it. We don't want to put work. We don't want to do anything. You just want everything to happen at your beck and call. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Stop waiting for rescue. You need to invest in your parenting. That's what Africa did. Africa waited for rescue. That's why we're so. I worked for USAID, and I can tell you our healthcare is dead without USAID funded projects. Dead completely. And here, this is where we are, square one. And that's what happens in our parenting. We're constantly looking for rescue instead of us to invest in our parenting. You only come for a parenting class when you want to run kitty kaka. That's the only time that it happens. Hey mom, my mom is here. That's the only time that it happens. All right? And you find yourself, you don't develop anywhere by aid. You develop by trade. By trade. So put in the work now so that you don't run. You don't run the way that Africa is running today. Africa is literally, there's a lot of meetings going on everywhere. How do we survive it? What do we do? Because for the longest time possible, we have fed on usage. You sit down. You think that your parenting is just, I'm not going to do anything. Oh, it's the school. Oh, it's the school. Oh, it's church. Oh, and then tomorrow you are looking for who to blame. That's you waiting for it. Let's go. All right. So we don't want to raise children, right, who panic when they are faced with unfamiliar problems. We don't want to raise children who believe that success is cramming, from cramming to good grades. That's the people we're raising. And that's why we're paying money for exam malpractice. Sometimes when I think it's also, the concept doesn't sit. How do you pay for exam malpractice? Why? Because you want your child to pass and be tops of the class? You want your child to do one, you say, oh, the teacher did all A's. You go to Miracle Center, why? And hey, do not tell me that it is parents of these days. It happened in my time. Parents paid for their children to pass exams. So don't even tell me. I have first class #1 information on this concept because it happened a lot where I grew up. There were a lot of people, parents paid for their children to pass exams in university. You too, you are. Your child tells you, oh, that man is wicked. That's why you paid money so that your son can pass it. Why? For what? You are successfully aiding. That's what you're doing. And when you are done aiding, when the chips are down, you will pay the price. Always. Always. Stop waiting for rescue. Invest in your parenting. See, when you invest in your parenting, that's get it. Right? When I say, oh, why are you panicked that your child failed an exam? Why? Why are you panicked? Someone, thank you so much, Adeleke. He said, it happened to my sister. My father paid for special center for her GCE. All of us are here. Most of our parents actually did that. A few of our parents didn't. Yes, I agree. But most of our parents, and these are the seats. The seats are here. Miracle centers, exam center. There's malpractice in virtually almost every school in Nigeria today. An unfortunate place we have come to be. Very unfortunate. Because of what? You want your child to come out of the class and then be, according to you, your child will be the best graduating student and celebrated. And then what? And the parents also lobby to get admissions. Well, yeah, now admissions that you didn't merit. They went, they paid money, they got you into that cost. Maybe you didn't pass jam. Come closer. Let me tell you. I'm not afraid because I know these things. And there's malpractice everywhere. All the things that we're trying to just deny. No, it's not. Everywhere. Even the teachers. The schools are doing it so that they will also come out well and be praised. Unfortunately. 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 So it's sad. I watched a neighbor pay through the son's university days, sorting teachers in a course as big as engineering in Futo. I can't even forget. He eventually didn't graduate, yes, but I think his other brother had a little mixed it up with this thing and then graduated. Very interesting conversation, right? Very, very interesting conversation. This is key. This is key. And if we don't understand that this is not what, then after they finished all of this going about trying to sort, what now happened? Did we become the Mark Zuckerberg of our time? We didn't. Look at us now. All of us did not. What have we produced? We're still where we are. And we're still hoping for aid. And we're going on Twitter bashing the US about aid that was withdrawn. We're not serious. Let's move on, please. Now, part of the danger of raising a rote learner only is the struggle to think critically and adapt. And adapt. So conceptual, understanding, that is the thinker. That's student who learn by exploring why, we actually, some things work. Students who learn by making connections, by asking questions. Most of us were shut down in asking questions. How do you think we want to become thinkers? How? When you ask questions, they tell you, shut up. In my team, one of my team members was talking to me. I said, when you're talking to me, even when I say no, look at me in the face and challenge me and ask me why. What are you afraid of? We're raised that, when someone senior is talking, you're just supposed to talk. You're not supposed to have suggestions. You're supposed to keep quiet. Don't look. They won't tell you don't look at your an elder in the face. Don't let the eye. You're not supposed to look at the elder in the eye. Like, really? Yeah, really. Thank you, Coach Dozier. You can't sort your way to productivity. How do you want to do it? So we can't become productive. We can't. So we're all sorting everywhere. All right. So these people don't memorize. They understand how and why. And I keep saying that he who knows why is better than he who knows how. If you don't know why, you are dead. Unfortunately, we're raised by people who shut us down for asking why. I remember when you asked, so how much was this? And then why do you want to know? That's always the response. Most of us ended up with bad relationship with money. Terrible relationship. For money, you're uncomfortable. You even say things like, why are they charging me money to pay for it? Why are you uncomfortable with money? It's your upbringing. That's where you're coming from. Money was looked at something very evil. Don't talk about it. Your parents even told you everything is not about money. Look at you. That's why you are actually where you are. All of us, we are coming from that place. And if you do not do a surgery of your mind, you remain where you are for life. Forget it. You will still be in that place. Rote learner. Rote learner. You just be there. You just, that's it. So as they were telling you all of this month, we're doing something on, understanding finances. And Coach Chukwemeka is going to be teaching, in the inner circle. In the inner circle is full of resources. And, I started drilling deep into finances. I realized that our bad relationship with money is because of the way that we were raised. See, your money mindset is created between 0 to 5. Your money mindset is created between 0 to 5. And that's why a lot of us have a terrible thing about money. That's why the fight between couple is usually my money, their money, their money. We were raised to see money as a god, not as a tool. That's a concept we came up with. So if somebody comes now and says, I'm selling this cup for 500, say, why are you selling it now? Can't it be free? Bad money relationship. You sold this thing before. Why are you now still selling? Why can't you just give it free? Bad money relationship. Or those of us who think that money, you can die for money. I never had. So you saw so much scarcity that when you now see money, your body, everything about your body, hey, it's my money. And my husband cannot know where my money is kept. Bad, terrible relationship with money. Terrible relationship. So you're constantly asking, yeah, my money. No, the man will bring his money, will eat it. Me, I will keep my money. You have a terrible relationship with money. That's the truth. Forget all the other addendum that you want to add. It's because my husband is careless. No, it's because my husband is a stupid man. That's why I keep my money to myself. You have a financial trauma. It's a thing. You do. And if you see some people selling things that you're like, this is even selling it this amount. Why is it that you have a bad relationship with money? Rote learners struggle to see concept differently. If you do not understand these concepts, right, you are struggling with it. You can't say it. There's a lot going on in your head. You need to actually rewire your mind. So what you're doing is just, you've just crammed. People tell me there's no parenting manual. I told you, everybody is actually parenting from a manual. The problem is that you don't even know that you have a manual. And the problem is that you don't know the content of the manual that you have. Very interesting conversation. So you parent from what it is that you have been rote learning, right? They just gave you. Bam, bam, you are just, putting it out. And you are just, la cram, la po. That's how you parent it. When somebody says this is not the way, this thing happened in their time because of it's conceptual. Can you understand it in the concept where they are preaching heresy? The Bible said if you don't beat the child does not turn out okay. Look at the kind of things that we say. Because even the Bible that we are reading, we read it with la cram la pon. The Holy Spirit is not working in your mind. It's not teaching you. Not teaching you. Are you here? If you're here, let me see you put a fire emoji. And if you have not invited somebody to be here, you want to actually do that right about now. Invite someone to join us now. Invite someone to join us now. Share on your social media handle. Share on your groups. Share wherever. But sharing something that can save lives. That's the truth. That's the truth. All right. So when you raise children to understand concept, they build confidence. They don't build memory banks. They don't build memory banks. They don't build memory. You actually see your children building, a lot of confidence because they understand concept. Now, when you raise a child who understands concept, they solve problem creatively. They understand that learning is about making sense, not repeating facts. Let me say that again. When you raise a child who understands conceptual understanding, they actually understand that learning is about making sense, not just repeating facts. They build real-world problem-solving skills. It's not just repeating, not just putting it. Just put it in. And this is very important. So you are not throwing rote learning. Let me put that in context. You're not throwing rote learning away out of the window, because some basic facts, spelling, historical date, do not need some, this thing to learn. You just need your memory to work. So that's what working memory, it's about, right? Now, but I want you to ask yourself, but if your parenting is only about memorization, you are actually unintentionally raising a memorization robot instead of a critical thinker. So I want you to ask yourself, is my child just memorizing answers for tests? Or do they actually understand what they are reading? What pushes you to go to do homework for your child is because you just want your child to get the answer. If you're still in that business of doing homework for your child, it doesn't matter the age of the child. And quote me anywhere, I will defend it. You're still in the business of trying to do homework for your child. I did not say your child coming to ask you questions. If you're still in the business of your children, you are doing homework for them. You are overwhelmed by homework. Never been able to understand it. And you are actually in that place. Unfortunately, you are actually raising someone who is memorizing for tests. But you know the truth. You are doing it because you don't want them to fail. You don't want them to fail. That's it. Thank you so much, Chine. Yeah. Dr. Chini said, "Rock learning made a mess of me." During my master's in the UK, I was wondering if I escorted my white colleagues to school. I was awed by their critical thinking. I remember that when we were doing MPH in Northampton, a lot of Nigerians were struggling. They kept asking me, why are you not complaining? Why are you not struggling? I was never a rock learner, so of course it didn't really affect me. All right. So let's continue on this. So you now do homework. You are in that place, you are doing the homework, and it comes from the place of you just wanting your children to just pass. It's not really about them, learning. So you need to ask yourself today, right? Is my child just memorizing answers for tests, or do they really understand what they are doing? If you are doing homework for your child, you are doing more harm than good. Trust me and quote me. Coach, what do I do? Should I just leave the child? You need to come and register for understanding your child's learning style. When you do, you would actually find out that you do not need to help your child to do homework. What you need to do is to teach your child study skills. Is a thing. Do you know why most of us struggle in foreign developed nations, doing masters or whatever? Is because we were not taught how to study. We were taught how to cram and pass exams. We were taught how to, and pass exam. That's it. So it is important that you begin to actually think through your parenting today. Do I encourage, them to ask why and how? Or do I expect them to repeat facts correctly? I want them to repeat what I've said. Listen to me. You need to be obedient. If you want to understand the concept of rote learning, I have this book, Raising the Independent Thinking Child. You need to raise a thinker, not a follower. It's an important part. And even when you're raising a follower, do you know that the concept of our followership is flawed? There's a way to raise a follower. And that's why we do not understand when an errand, stage is ended and we get stuck. Let me leave it. You will not understand what I just said. Masterpiece women will. Am I raising a robot who can recall? Or am I raising a thinker who can reason? The question is for you to ask. So a child who only memorizes facts will pass exams, but a child who understands concepts will pass through life successfully. Why is it that true learning doesn't happen in school most times? I'm going to share with you why. School is designed for efficiency, not depth. I say that again. School is designed for efficiency, not depth. And school was designed for an era. It was designed for the industrialized era. That's the truth. The era where we are now, our school needs to actually be redesigned if we're going to continue in it. So schools are built, right? Schools are built to deliver information to many children at once. That's how school is built. So the system favors rote learning, quick facts, formulas, procedures, so that you can memorize it and regurgitate it for exams. There's really little time to explore. Why does this work this way? How does it apply to my life? What happens if I do it differently? There's no time for that. So many children leave school knowing what, but never why. They are memorization robots, not deep thinkers. So school cannot teach a child how to think. That's the truth. School cannot teach a child how to think. If you are going to raise a child who can think, you need to learn how to think to teach your child how to think. If not, if you want, get your child to the highest paying school. Why do you think that those Igbo boys who go to do 7 years apprenticeship make more money than your child who went to the best school in Harvard? Why do you think that happens? Think. It's the ability to actually think. That's the difference. That's the difference. There's no other, this thing. So they have little time to actually explore all of this. So education is not just what happens in school, it's what happens every day at home. If your children are going to be educated, you must stand up and invest in your parenting. Forget all these things. Who taught our parents? Well, all of us we just went to school. Well, nobody taught our parents. And yes, of course, all of us just went to school. No depth, no thought process. We don't know how things work. We don't know how it applies in our lives. Some of us studied biochemistry, whatever chemistry. You don't even understand it. You just have a degree. That's the truth. So many of us are leaving school. We left school. We know what, but we don't know why. So are you really raising the children who know the answers? Or the ones who can find them? So your child can know the answers, but they don't know how to find them. They're two different things. One of the things that happen is that standardized systems, right, can't personalize learning. Let me say that again. Standardized system, and school is the standardized system, cannot personalize learning. Now, school follow a fixed curriculum, regardless of your child's learning style, regardless of your child's pace, regardless of your child's interests. So, true learning happens when content connects the learner, and that rarely happens in school. Let me say that again. True learning happens when content connects with the learner, and that rarely happens in school. Rarely. And then there is fear of failure. The fear of failure that kills exploration, and that's what school projects. In school, the goal is the right answer, not the thinking process. So children are trained to avoid mistakes, remember? They are trained to memorize formulas, and they are trained to pass tests. So you see, if you leave this work for school alone, you will make a mess of your child. You will raise someone who can't think. But of course, they can, be in a place. Anytime I'm having meeting with my team members, one of the first things that I say to them is that I want people, when I hire you, what I say to you is I want people who can think. I'm not interested in what you graduated with, where you graduated from. I really do not care. What can you do with your brain? That's what I want. I want a thinking organization. I don't run a rote system. So I don't want you to just do what I always say that if you're doing the only thing that you have learned and you are not thinking through the concept, then you are not valuable. That means you can be replaced. Anybody can replace you. So anybody can come today and learn what it is that you're doing and do it. So content connection really happens in school. And the question you want to actually begin to ask yourself today is my child, is my home even conducive for these things that they are sharing? True learning thrives on curiosity, on mistakes, on discovery. Things that often happen at home when children are free to explore. These are things that happen at home. So why true learning happens at home is that it's when parents actually are able to understand their child. See, a school teacher, hear this one, teaches subjects. A parent teaches thinking. Anytime you actually think of yourself as a parent, that's who you are. It's your job to teach your children how to think. It's not your child can go to school, pass exams and all of that, blah, blah, blah. It's not the role of the school. The school is not created in that way. The school is created to actually find systems, right? And then just follow it and then just pass. Because there's something the school wants to produce. The home is the only place where there is thinking. So teachers teach subjects, parents teach thinking. Are you teaching thinking or are you teaching subjects? I want you to just answer. The most powerful classroom is your room. The most important teacher is you. So all these, I hire 10 teachers, and then they've been teaching my children. It has really, somebody told me, lesson teachers really helped me in life. He helped me to pass all my exams and all of that. And then I asked the person, and then what? What did you produce? Who did you become? What happened to you? You're just that person who has one job somewhere. And then what? And then what? Now, home can be a safe space for curiosity. That's why home is important. And that's why, for me, parents are the biggest target in parenting. For me. So I'm not very particular about, let's go and make sure that teachers understand this. If you understand it at home, there are some things they do in my children's school. My children don't understand what is right. So I don't bother. The home is curated for a thinking system. So I'm not fidgeting. I'm not. Parents can personalize learning. They understand how their child learns. Unfortunately, you don't. Most parents don't. They understand their children's interest. Unfortunately, most parents don't. They understand their children's strengths and struggles. Unfortunately, most of us don't, because we don't pay attention. Are they slow processors? Do they need confident boosters? These are all your job. And are they understanding your child's learning styles? Part of what we're going to be putting together. And we're also going to be talking about learning style. All right, Coach Mola is going to be talking about learning style and even understanding your special needs children. Your special needs children, your autistic child can actually become. Autism is not, the child is autistic. So that, therefore, that's not how it works. But unfortunately, that's not what school will teach you. You need to learn it so that you can actually deal with it. The most important classroom is your room. Thank you, Coach Jose. That's actually very true. You can personalize learning. You can teach in a way that actually makes sense to your child. Something school can do at scale. Our children never had one lesson teacher. It never happened. We didn't need it. If there are concepts they didn't understand, we created our home to teach for them to think. If we give our children assignments they can't solve, we take it back to you because they can't solve it and we're not going to help them solve it. It means they haven't learned the concept. So why do I want to learn? So that my child will come first. And you know the interesting thing? If you focus on conceptual understanding, your children will naturally do well in school. Ask anywhere. I'm not bragging. Their teachers are watching me. My children do well anywhere. Primary school, secondary school, anywhere. They're in senior secondary school today. It's not about focusing on that. Oh, this is just, I want to focus on my child. Just even your discipline. Do you know that if you understand how your child learns, discipline becomes easy. Discipline becomes easy. Somebody said, I'm looking forward to the 2026 academy year. Yes, just register and wait. If not, you will not get a slot too. Because talking about 2026. Registration ends in October. You can register now. You can pay full now. We already have cohort 1A filling up. FYI. I think it's almost full. Am I correct? Cohort 1A 2026. It's going to be something else. So registration ends in October. I want to be able to do onboarding the whole of November and get everybody ready for December 1st. So the academy starts on the 1st of December, but please book now, pay now if you can. All right. Somebody said, I have already. All right. This is so important. So the goal becomes raising a thinker who can face any situation, not a robot who frees without a script. Robots freeze with no script. There are many robots, there are many AIs. So if your children, all they are doing is cramming and passing exams, they will become irrelevant. Anything I want to ask her, just bring her AI. Pum, pum, pum. Pum, 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 pum. That's what you need to do. Maybe. Bottom line, don't rely on schools to teach your children how to think. Don't measure success by grades. If you do that, you actually raise, in quotes, people who can think. True learning happens when you, the parent, understand your child, personalize their learning, create environment where thinking, questioning, and exploring are celebrated. It's you. It's you. So the world doesn't reward those who can repeat facts. The world rewards those who can solve problems. So teaching conceptual understanding at home is one of the most powerful gifts you can give to your child, because it helps them to become thinkers, problem solving, not just memorization machines. And here's a practical step-by-step that will make a shift in your home. I'm sharing this with you today. But while at it, please understand that for you to actually make most of these changes, you will need to understand how your child learns, to be able to actually infuse these changes in the system. Because if you don't, you are going to struggle, your child will struggle, and you'll be frustrated by this concept that I'm sharing with you. Number one, you need to focus on your why, not just the what. So instead of just teaching your child what to do, ask questions like, why does this work? What's the meaning behind it? Can you explain to me in your own words? Example, in math, I don't teach multiplication tables. I help them see that multiplication as repeated addition. Now, children are in SS1. They don't use calculators. Something very amazing. It's something you can build. A child can learn it. I can't do those maths without calculator. This is me. I don't have that concept that was developed in them. I don't. Or you see it as grouping items into sets. So you understand, and it makes it learning stick. So it's actually easier to stick that way. We use real life examples. Number two, children understand better when they see how a concept applies in their life daily. Our daughter was explaining to me how their physics teacher teaches. And he says the way he explains physics makes it come so much alive. Like, what is this? And that's it. And that's it. So you use cooking to teach fractions. Our children, part of what we used to teach them math was cooking. So our children started to cook from age 3. They were in the kitchen with me. They will come, their dad will be doing something, they will be there picking beans, doing what it is that they need to do. By age 6, they were cooking. Oh, by age 10, I wasn't in the kitchen anymore. Cooking teach children math concept. One of the best ways to actually learn cooking, to learn math concept, is baking, cooking. But you need to be intentional about it to bring it to life. Most of us learned how to cook early, but can't solve mathematics. There is a way. The Bible says that the journey of the foolish man wearieth every single one of them, because you do not know how to get to the city. Hey, the governor. The things you teach your child are around you. They are every day. Sometimes my husband is having a drive with the children and then just saying something. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen and we're doing this. I said, but you know that this is simple calculation, right? So this is what you need to do. And this the concept comes alive. Content connection happens only at home. It can never happen in school. Can never. So that's why I don't fight teachers. No, I don't. My husband and I have never fought a teacher before. Argued with a teacher. No, we know what we're doing at home. Our home is curated to raise thinkers. Our home is curated to raise thinkers. Yes, it is. The other day I was sharing with you, talking about, going past cooking and never learning math concept. I was sharing with you about, it was in the inner circle. The difference between actually resilience and suffering. They look alike. Our parents suffered. They were not resilient. Why? They didn't pick anything from that and turn it into, lemon to lemonade. They didn't understand the concept of lemon to lemonade. So they suffered, and it was something to brag about. We suffered. So we even collected the suffering. So when somebody tell you, hey, look at the way you look, say, it's not easy in Nigeria, I've been suffering. So suffering becomes something. I'm not going to get into that before I confuse you. Let's continue, right? So instead of just teaching them about evaporation from Facebook, you can place a pool of water and they watch it disappear over time. So sometimes my husband is doing something and he's telling them, but do you know that this is about science? This is that happens in science and all of that. And our daughter said, Our daughter started drawing with his dad. My husband is an amateur artist. But my husband intentionally put her, since we saw she had interest in actually drawing. So intentionally put her. So she creates puzzles, she creates stuff with her dad. She sits down in the art room and they sit and do. That's the intentionality in understanding the concept to actually be able to teach it. The fact that you can do it, or the fact that the child can do it, doesn't mean the child will learn through it. Except you understand how to teach it. This part of what it is. We're going to be showing you how to understand your child's learning style. If your child is a visual learner, right, it means that you actually need to use those things around you intentionally to begin to actually, break it down. To begin to break it down. Use nature walks to teach science. When we are traveling, we do a lot of, teaching. Use shopping to teach budgeting and percentages. If you are intentional about your process, you will raise children who think, not just children who pass exams. Messi says, my 8-year-old can cook better than I do. Of course. Of course. Mathematics comes easy to her. Just 2 years in the yard. That's it. If you understand the process of infusing it, everything changes. Number 3, ask open-ended questions. I want to run. Shift away from questions that have only one right answer. Only one right answer. What do you think? How would you do it differently? Yes and no. No. That's what you actually shut it down. All right. Number 4, allow room for exploration and mistakes. Let your children understand. Real understanding grows when children experiment, make mistakes, try again. Don't rush to correct every mistake. Don't rush to correct every mistake. Don't rush to correct every mistake. Instead, guide them to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. All right. So, for example, your child, your child spills water, right? Learning to pour. Why did you put the water there? Ask your child, what could you have done differently if you were to pour this water again? When a child is pouring water, the child is learning. When your 1-year-old is pouring water, there's a learning happening. The problem is that you don't know. So you scream, and that's it. Everything just ends. Teach through discussions, not just lectures. Stop lecturing. Apostle Paul of Tarsus. By Thursday, I'm going to share it to inner circle parents who Apostle Paul is in our parenting style in the yard. You are constantly preaching, constantly lecturing. You need to turn into the conversations, not a one-way lecture. Let your child be able to explain concepts to you, ask follow-up questions, challenge your ideas gently so that you can actually stretch their thinking. So when you are learning about history, you are actually putting, history together. Why do you think people made that decision in that time? We used to have DSTV Explorer when we used to use DSTV. We actually got an Explorer because we needed to be able to pause and have conversations. See, you must be intentional in your parenting, even to the point of knowing the kind of tools that is important to you per time and the kind of things that you need to watch. We wanted our children to understand, the concept of creativity and problem solving. There are some documentaries we watch in our home. And our children, say your home is curated to raise thinkers. That's the idea. The school is not curated to raise thinkers. The school is designed for efficiency, not for depth. And you must understand that. So encourage them to teach back. Our children, from the day they started to read, they started to do PowerPoint presentations. Why? It's the teach back process. So they can explain it clearly, so that they can give examples. So if they struggle, that's a clue that you need to go deeper into the concept. Show them how concepts connect. Help your child to see knowledge instead of being isolated. It connects. Every subject connects across board. Every subject connects across board. Fraction will apply in cutting a cake. It will apply in dividing story into parts in literature. Everything cuts across board. Model curiosity and critical thinking. You see, your children are watching you. The problem is that you're not modeling curiosity. You don't wonder about things. Have you noticed that we prefer entertainment more than we prefer teaching things? You know why? rote learning. Our brain is not configured to actually do conceptual learning. So you need to go back and teach your child how to do it. So before you even come for understanding your child's learning stuff for the sake of your child, you need to come for your own sake. You need to understand who you are. Most of us battled with special, needs and all of that growing up. We didn't even know that we did. I was sharing with my team one day, and I was saying that I had directional dyslexia. That you have dyslexia doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Oh, there's no. It's because you don't even understand it. Knowing left and right is a difficult thing for me. And hey, I'm an A-list student. Anytime, any day, I came out of my class and I stayed with all sense of pride. So please call me a pride person by all means. Proud coach, very proud. But you know the truth. You know the truth. I struggled with that aspect of my life. Nobody knew. I got to know myself. Most of you do not even know how you actually do learn. You don't know who you are. Part of understanding who you are is actually to be able to help your child. So if you're fixing something in the house, you can narrate the process. This is why this is not working. When my husband is doing something, fixing something, he just says, "Ayo, come, we're fixing this." To the point that if something happens at home, my husband is not around. As soon as he's able to just look around and just say, "Don't worry, I'll fix it." My sister-in-law was telling me the other day, something happened in the house, and he said, "You see how Ayo jumped out confidently and said, 'Auntie, don't worry, go upstairs. I got this.'" He said, "Wow." I'll fix it. When your child is a rote learner, they panic once things don't go their way. I'll tell you a story. Our children were locked out in a basement. We're in the UK, and they were locked in the basement. There was the way they knew how to go was a particular way. Of course, they understood how they could go. But at that time, events changed. We were not there. They were locked out. They didn't have a choice of what else to do. And you know the interesting thing? They didn't panic. We just stayed in the room and we realized that the children are not bad. We went to throw the bin. What happened? I think it was like a 14 story or something. I can't even remember how many stories. And then my husband just started going towards the door, and then they opened the door and they come in. We're like, "So why did you waste so much time?" They said, "Oh, we got locked out." I said, "So what did you do?" We said, "Well, we started to look around. There was a time where we saw that one of the doors had a problem. So we just thought maybe we could check it out and see if that door is still there." See, when you raise rote learners, and the place was all dark, they didn't panic, they didn't scream, they didn't know. They looked for a solution. When you raise rote learners, when things happen, they panic and they make the worst decisions at that time. I had someone that I know that the son was at the back, locked out, just locked out. He was just locked out at the back of their house. The guy panicked. Nobody was at home to actually open the door, and the boy jumped from upstairs to down. Why? Panic. Because the child has been raised to actually be a rote learner. So when circumstances change, will your child panic? If they have to panic, then you're raising a rote learner. All they know is the one that you have told them. All they know is the one that you have told them. So they can't really think. Is that thinking that we're actually talking about? Is that thinking? So is your child, are you raising someone who is thinking? Or are you just raising somebody who just, is the one I told you? And that's why I have a problem with blind obedience. That's why I have a problem with blind obedience, honestly speaking, because it teaches rote learning. I want a child to be able to think. So imagine that they didn't understand thinking. At that time, they would have panicked, they would have cried, they would have. My children don't cry when they are in a situation of, like we say in Igbo. And if you're not Igbo, why now? This is the point where we need to end. And if you do not understand what I just said, you need to get an Igbo friend. Is it that you are Igbo or you have an Igbo friend? How can you be a Nigerian and you don't have an Igbo friend? Or better still, an Igbo coach? Come on now. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure sharing all of this with you. Now, rote learning creates children who repeat information. This is why I end. Rote learning creates children who repeat information. Conceptual understanding creates children who can solve problems, think critically, and adapt to any situation. You are your child's first and most important teacher. And teaching for understanding starts with you. Do not forget. You need to build yourself before you can even begin to build others. Parenting is first about you. And I say that the first thing you do is not to parent. The first thing you do is to grow. I want you to understand today that your growth is more important than just trying to get your children to behave. Grow first, and everything will actually fall in place. Don't forget, understanding your child learning style course is open. You pay 13,999 instead of 30,500. This offer ends on my birthday, by the way. And as soon as it's my birthday, we take it off. Pay now, come and learn. Don't wait until you need an aid. Don't wait until you need a rescue. Please invest in your parenting today. There's so much to learn in parenting. Parenting is bigger and more massive than you think. So please start learning now so that it is not too late. Don't forget that you can also book for Inner Circle right now. You can book, pay, get registered, get onboarded, and wait for Inner Circle 2026. Inner Circle is a 1-year accountability system where we learn parenting. Scratch that, where you learn life. People have said that we should make it life parenting school. And I think I agree, actually. It is about life. You learn everything from being able to understand who you are to being able to actually understand the kind of relationship you should be in or not, being able to understand your marriage, being able to be a better human being, and most importantly, being able to actually know what you are called here for. I say, with all sense of responsibility, that Inner Circle brings clarity to your life and who you are and who you are created to be. This is where I sign out. And of course, my name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm called Africa's #1 parent coach. Scratch that. I'm your #1 parent coach in the world. And yes, for those who are asking about my legacy book has only 100 copies to go. If you don't buy now, you buy at 30,000 naira. It is a book that you need anytime, any day. Thank you again for joining me today. I hope that it was 1 hour well spent. Remember to call your family and your friends to actually come in and join us. And if you're asking about, all of this, the details of the class is right on my screen. And of course, we would also share with you on all our conversations and all the rest. And then you will need to get our books. We didn't talk about books. Please get my books. They are all available on Amazon. You can get copies on Amazon. You can get copies on with our distributors. Just reach out to the admin or follow our page, Books by Wendy Ologe, and you will get book. The main book you need after this class, you see these 2 books, you need them. The Parenting Advantage, Raising the Independent Thinking Child. There are many other books, and then of course, this month we're actually raising the Financially Skilled Child, a book that is written by Coach Kwemeka, and we're going to be reading and reviewing that in this month. And also Why You Act the Way You Do. All right, the others get it. But that's your parenting today. Do not, please, do your parenting like you do every. Don't wing it. If you wing it, it can actually backfire. Have an amazing day, everybody. And for others, see you right in the yard.
Hello. Have you ever wondered why some children try with books and others struggle to sit still for 5 minutes? Every child learns differently. But if you don't understand their learning style, you keep using the wrong method, and that will lead to frustration for both you and your child. And we all know how hard that can be.
And that is why we created the Learning Style course, a game changer, not just for parents, but teachers too. In this course, we're going to teach you how to identify your child's learning style, teach them in a way they understand, reduce learning struggles, and boost confidence.
Hundreds of parents and teachers have transformed their approach with this course. Now it's your turn.
The course will be running from the 25th to 28th of March 2025, so register now at the discounted rate of 13,999 naira before it returns to its original price of 30,500. Don't let your child struggle unnecessarily. Register now and start teaching in a way that works.